Greetings all. Today we're having a bit of a chat about ISO again. But the thing we want to talk about is ISO relevant anymore because of the advancements in AI? And as you know, there are a lot of AI tools out there that can basically get rid of noise. So we're going to discuss that one. But you know me, I'm in a rush. I've got to get there fast. So to answer this, is ISO relevant anymore? Let's look at what the ISO actually does and what it actually is. So the ISO, we've got the exposure triangle where you've got your shutter speed and your aperture, and then you've got your ISO. So the ISO itself is a gain. And what it does is basically makes your sensor on your camera more sensitive or less sensitive to light. So if you haven't got any light, you give that sensor a bit of a gain to boost the light that it has. And it does come with a bit of a drawback. And the drawback is noise. Now, the noise itself can spoil an image. All cameras are pretty different when it comes to the level of noise depending on how much of a gain you use. But we do have a bit of a really good tool. A lot of cameras have built-in capabilities to reduce that noise. And we also have software that we use to get rid of the noise should we actually get some. We'll continue this in a moment. Right, Buckshaw, where I am at the minute, and it's not really the morning I was after, as always. Yeah, seas calm as anything again. We do have a bit of cloud over the back there, and it's looking rather nice actually. It's been very cold in the mornings, and then it's been like bloody hot during the day. As well, this morning it seems a little bit more milder in the morning, which is rather nice. And yeah, I was, when it said partly cloudy, I was expecting a bit more around, not just like a blanket of cloud over in that section over there. And sunrise is 6:18, it's now 6:16. Not going to see it because of that bank of clouds over there. It's one of them, innit? Yeah, we have to do with what we've got. First one here, I'm not going to say it's spectacular, it's nothing really special, but it's quite nice. On a curve of the bay, coming around, and a couple of little boats and that over here. I'm going to change compositions in a minute, but let's get this one done. Yeah, and you've got the apartments up on the right side, but then you've got all the colour of the on the horizon. It's really nice, do love it. Because obviously the sea's pretty calmish. I haven't really got to worry too much about the shutter speed, because there's not really that much movement in there. So you're not really going to give it much of an effect if you try to alter your shutter speed to make it look a little bit different. Which, by the way, we do have something coming up about shutter speed and how changing your shutter speed can change how your image looks. So yeah, better subscribe if you're going to want to see that one. That one is coming up soon. It's ISO 400, f11 and a 60th of a second. set up for this next one. Oh, that is looking really nice. We've got a bit of the... let's focus in on that boat, and then we'll... I think it's going to look pretty nice. Yeah. It's quite pretty. I'll keep it there for a minute. So yeah, we've got obviously software that we can use, like in Lightroom, which is AI Denoise, to, it does what it says, get rid of the noise. But these also do come at a bit of a cost, and it's image quality. So if you've got, like, say, some grass, and in this grass you have you've got a lot of noise. When you come to get rid of it, you do actually end up smudging the say, like, the blades of grass, so it can be a little bit less effective. And the thing with software as well is a lot of it is still in its early stages of development, and even though they are improving and, you know, they are a good thing to fall back on, I wouldn't actually rely on them. This one's looking really good, so I'm going to flip this around because I'll pop it up here of what I'm actually looking at, and it really is lovely. And so we've got the old pier on this left hand side, and then we've got a couple of boats, and they're like silhouette-y. It's really nice, and you've got the sun that's making some real nice orange and colours right in that background. It really, really does look nice. Well, it looks really nice on the back here. I'm really hoping that this one's going to come up pretty nice. Exposure blend. Ooh, I was in two minds about that, but I actually quite prefer the boats being that more dark, because it's drawing you towards that colour. With that pier moving you in, it's drawing you over there. Yeah, do like this one. Obviously, because we're still just before the sunrise on that blue hour bit, we're still on the ISO 400 f11, but the sun's sort of like coming up that little bit, so it's 160th of a second. So I could, in theory, drop down that ISO to reduce the chance of any noise, and I've still got a decent shutter speed. As like I say, I'm not worried about movement in the water because it's calm. I'm actually going to keep this composition just as that comes up, just if we get any differences. And then we'll do. I'll show you the favourite one of a lot of that. So yeah, going back to this ISO, is it relevant? Yes, it actually is, and there are lots of reasons why. Is because, like I've just done with this image, where the ISO was high to give a bit of a gain because of how dark the image was. But because my shutter speed, because I'm shooting at light, the front bit's dark, that back bit's light, and the shutter speed was pretty high, so I could afford to lower that down. Like I say, it's all thinking about what it is that you're doing to whether you're going to need high ISOs or not. And it can seem a little bit daunting and sort of yeah, just a bit of a headache sometimes, but actually it's not. And it's not because if you understand the exposure triangle, you'll understand that altering and reducing one can alter and reduce another. And the sequence that I tend to use for the ISO is, depending on whether my shutter speed or my aperture is going to be the priority. Well, in this case, I always think, right, I'm going to be using a X aperture, and I'm going to need a Y shutter speed-ish, and then I always adjust the ISO last. If my ISO is high, I'll then think, can I trade in one of the others to get the same result with a lower ISO? And that's the way that you think. If you're thinking this way, and you're thinking about the ISO, not too much, because don't be frightened of it, it's there for a reason, then that's the way that you're going to need to think and look at what it is that you're photographing. Can I trade something off to lower that ISO? If you can't, and you need a high ISO, which is going to add a little bit of noise, when you come to do your post-processing, if it's not noticeable, leave it. If it is noticeable and you want to do something about it, that's when you'd start to use your AI features to get rid of the noise, or any other noise reduction software to get rid of the noise. But don't overdo it. And that's one of the biggest things, is because if you overdo these noise reductions, it affects the quality of your image. So for me, I probably prefer to have a little bit of noise and a clear image than a noise without an image but has been smudged a little bit because of the way that AI does the denoise. So it's a trade-off. So the answer to this question, is ISO relevant anymore? Yes, it bloody well is. I've moved the composition just a little bit because we're going to get the sunrise has happened. I mean, that was about 15 minutes ago, because a bank of clouds. Just waiting for the sun to poke its head over the top of them clouds, and I can see it just about starting to really bringing out the colours on here. And I might bank over just a little bit. Let me see if there we go. We've just got a big blank of orange here. That is lovely. I'll put you on 2-second timer, not 10. So one thing I'm going to say about all of this, as the conclusion to it all, is the one thing that you need to learn as a beginner, and one thing you need to remember as you progress, is your exposure triangle. And it's learn how this works, and it's really simple. Once you learn how this works, it's probably the key to any photography that you do. And that's looking nice. Let's do another one. Pick my favourite then. It's looking good. And then once you actually understand this exposure triangle, is that you're going to find that you're worrying less about your ISO, and you're also going to massively improve the quality of your images. Anyway, time for that bang sandwich and cup of tea. Thanks for joining me on this one, and I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you on the next one. So take care, stay safe. I'll see you soon.